Now, I know what you're thinking. This person doesn't collect the Black Series. And you're right, I don't. Except I do. Kind of. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks everybody for the positive feedback, especially on that video I did a few weeks ago about Wat Tambor and the other obscure figures that I like from the 3 3/4 inch line. You guys are fantastic on that one. I wanted to follow that up with something else, which is, you know me, I hate the Black Series. I'm one of those jerks that just kind of hates the Black Series out of spite, like pure spite, because realistically, when the Black Series, by which I mean the 6-inch line, I know that there are 3 3/4 inch Black Series figures because Hasbro hadn't quite figured it out back then. But the 6-inch line, when it showed up, it was basically the end for my line of collecting for all intents. I mean, look, it's still going. I shouldn't be complaining, but the Black Series killed it, right? Like the Black Series killed it. So I have a lot of, as you can probably tell, lingering resentment for the Black Series. And yet, I do have about a half a dozen Black Series figures in my collection. I wanted to talk about them. Some of them, I'll just get off the top. Some of them are just situations where the scale difference is so negligible that I bought them anyway, right? Like Babu Frick and Porgs. I can't get enough Porgs. So like, yeah, that is for 3 3/4 inch scale, that Porg's a little too big, but I just make him like the King Porg. You know, here he's got his wing up because he's in an argument with Jabba's band up on the sail barge. You can't see that because it's up there, but that's what he's for. And ditto with Bob. Like, I know there are actually 3 3/4 inch Anzellans now with the IG-12. I haven't bought IG-12, but like, you know, that's close enough for me to have a Babu Frick. But generally, I wanted to show you the 6 Black Series figures that I do have, one of which is actually kind of one of my favorite figures of all time, happens to be Black Series. But there's an obvious theme, which is that they're characters that just have not been done in 3 3/4 inch. So in some cases, the desire to have them on the shelf sort of outweighs my, again, quite silly and childish resentment of the Black Series as a whole. The other thing that's really nice about having a few 6-inch figures is they do, like, as you can see here from my kind of, this is not all, obviously, all Star Wars, some of it's other stuff, but I like having a bit of scale variation because it just tends to break up the line, the visual line a little bit and draws the eye. That's, in my experience anyway, one of the big problems with having an enormous number of figures in the same scale is that at a certain point you stop seeing the trees for the forest. Like, all you see is, wow, that's a lot of 3 3/4 inch figures, but you don't really focus on any of them. So having a bit of scale differentiation, including Black Series figures, I find makes things look nicer. So for my Black Series figure collection, let's start with the most recent, which is I bought my first Skeleton Crew Black Series figure, which is Fern. I have not bought the other 3 kits because I'm still sort of hedging my bets that one of these days they might get it together and do it in the vintage collection. But if they don't, I may just fill out the rest of those characters just so that I have all of them. I'm certainly, if nothing else, I will get KB so that I can have Fern and KB together. I don't really recall why I chose Fern over KB. I believe it was a bit of a coin toss on the day. I had a bit of a store credit coming to me at Fourth Moon Toys because of something else that I had, I think I'd sold them some stuff. So I was just like, yeah, Fern. Good figure, not great figure. I don't think they quite nailed the likeness on Ryan Kira Armstrong, but obviously in terms of kitting her out, like the flashlight, the backpack, the jacket, all of this, Fern's just visual design is one of my favorite things from Skeleton Crew. I really like the look. This looks like a Star Wars character to me, like the way I see a Star Wars character in my head. So yeah, and that's true obviously for all 4 of the kids, but Fern's my favorite, so she was the first one to go. And very similarly, last summer, I was so digging on Jecki and the Acolyte that I ran out and bought the Jecki figure as well. Still haven't seen her in 3 3/4 inch. Don't know if we will. It's just, as I've said in other videos, I think that the Stranger will be the last of the Acolyte figures. But I'd be thrilled to get Jecki in the vintage collection. I think Jecki's a wonderful character. And sometimes for me, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm collecting, some of it is just like, I'm so into the thing in the moment. In this case, like, I was just so into the Acolyte and into the character of Jecki that even if they had announced that she was going to come into the vintage collection like then and there, it still would have been like a year before the figure actually hit shelves. So I just walked down to a store and bought Jecki because she was already out. It's another thing that, you know, the vintage collection is not good at, is getting figures into stores contemporaneously with new media. So the Acolyte Black Series figures were already on the shelf when the show was airing. So Jecki was an easy buy for me. Also, like, come on. This is what, like, if you're gonna do a bigger scale, it's to get stuff like this. Like, this is a fantastic, fantastic figure. Sculpt is perfect. She's obviously I've had her in this one pose on a flying rig for the entire time that I've owned her because I like her so much in that position. But you can do a lot with this figure. It's really terrific. One common theme that you'll notice about all these figures is that they're all kids, because as I've said in other videos, for some reason, the vintage collection just won't do kids, possibly because they're literally too small for that level of articulation. But the third kid figure I wanted to show off is Omega. We're finally starting to get another, I think I'll be doing a Crosshair video in the next few weeks if my luck holds. So we're finally getting some more Bad Batch figures in the vintage collection, but no word yet of Omega. And usually when Hasbro talks about the Bad Batch, they don't even talk about Omega as if she's a member of the Bad Batch. Friends, she's the queen of the Bad Batch. She's the reason there is a Bad Batch. That's not true. There was a Bad Batch before Omega, but yeah, I love Omega. Omega's a great character. The light bow is a great accessory. This is my preferred Omega look. It's the season 2 mercenary look, although I'm not gonna, split hairs if they do an Omega for the vintage collection. I don't care what costume she's in. I will be very, very glad to add her. But in the meantime, she kind of has she actually stands over here. So she's in a particular spotlight position in my collection. Shifting away from the children to the adults, we've got the fantastic Bix Caleen action figure that they did in a Black Series when Andor Season 1 aired. This is, first of all, my favorite Bix look. She had a few different costumes across the 2 seasons of the show, but this is my favorite Bix look. I believe it's the look from literally the first episode or thereabouts. Also, that is a magnificent head sculpt and paint job on their likeness of Adria Arjona. They really nailed this. This is as good as Hasbro has ever done in capturing likeness, as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is just, and I don't just mean the head sculpt, like I do mean everything. Like, this is a fantastic design for a figure. The lines on this figure are wonderful. It looks great on the shelf. She is the only Black Series figure that sits with my other Andor figures, because why not let Bix just like loom over everybody? Bix rules. We should have her in the vintage collection as well. But even if we did, I'd probably keep this one because I just like that figure so much. Here's one where if they do it in the vintage collection and they do it correctly, I probably wouldn't keep the Black Series figure, but I don't think they're ever gonna do it in the vintage collection now, is Vice Admiral Holdo from The Last Jedi. The reason I say I wouldn't probably keep it is they didn't actually get the costume correct. Like, I admire that they tried to do soft goods all the way down, but the replication of the actual look from the film is not great. The sculpt is good. Like, it's a very good action figure. It's also another one that really pops on the shelf because it's purple. And finally, my very favorite Black Series figure, and as I said earlier, one of my favorite figures in my whole collection, for no reason that I personally understand, other than I just like the look of it. I'm not much of an expanded universe person, what they now called Legends, the old EU. I was never really into the Thrawn novels, the post-Thrawn novels, the New Jedi Order, any of that stuff. And yet, for some reason, I freaking love this Black Series Jaina Solo. Like, I just love it. I don't even know what, it might be a comic, it might be a book. I don't know what this look is from. If you know, please do let me know in the comments. But I just think this is a terrific figure. It's another, like, very much like Bix. It's another one where just like the design of it is really compelling to me. The lines are really strong. I like the purple lightsaber. I like the Han Solo style blaster, the removable TIE pilot helmet. All of that I think is great. Another thing that I like that I don't think gets enough credit these days, there's a lot of personality in that head sculpt. I know they're head sculpting someone that doesn't actually exist, right? There's no actress to base this on, but they put this little kind of slightly Han Solo-ish smirk on her face, which again, really makes the figure pop on the shelf. She really has a lot of personality that makes her stand out from the people that are around her. So yeah, again, in spite of, like, I'm just not an EU person. I'm not much of an EU collector, but I love this figure. She's always on my shelf somewhere. And yeah, honestly, I don't even know if they did this in the vintage collection, would I buy it or would I just keep this? I don't know. This is one of those toys that for whatever weird personal whimsy reason is just very near the top of my list. Now, the top of my list of my favorite Star Wars figures is like 60 figures long, but she'd be in there somewhere. Like, you know, when you've got like 600 action figures from Star Wars alone, anything in the top 10% is a pretty high ranking. I think she's in that top 10%. She might even be in the top 5%. Someday I should do a video about that. Like, what are my actual favorite figures of all time? But we'll save that for another time. First of all, I think this is a pretty vintage collection forward channel. I think most of my viewers are collectors of 3 3/4 inch generally. And obviously going all the way back to Kenner. Boy, if there's a white whale that seems to have had the consensus from you guys based on that video a few weeks ago, it was Blue Snaggletooth. So we've got some collectors that go way, way back, like me. But yeah, I would be interested to know, those of you who are predominantly 3 3/4 inch, do you ever dip into the Black Series? Is there anyone watching who just does both? Has both lines happening? That'd be, I mean, I can't even imagine. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I would never even have the space for that, let alone the wherewithal. But yeah, how does the Black Series figure into your lines? Or do you just, like me, shake your fist? Like, I'm hilarious. When Hasbro does the live streams, you know, they tend to do the vintage collection first, and then I just go do something else. Like, I don't even watch the Black Series stuff. But once in a while, you know, they do justice by a character that I really like, or they do a design that I really like, and I will purchase. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.